Hi, I'm Coral. This is my garden. I'm growing in the high desert. I just recently moved back from Monterey, so we're dealing with a whole different environment here. This is a lot drier, a lot hotter. We're getting up to 107 tomorrow, supposedly. So it's very different than Monterey, where we dealt with a lot of blight and a lot of powdery mildew and issues of that sort. Here we're dealing with a lot of protecting from sun. We have shades kind of haphazardly put up all over, but everything's doing pretty good. I'm going to take you on a tour of what we got going on today. We just came back from the tribal farmers market, and I bought this really cute smudge bear hat from my friend Shannon. A couple of weeks ago I got these earrings from my friend Fawn, and I got a really cute beaded pop socket today too that I'll have to show you guys. I'm really looking forward to. We are actually hoping to grow enough veg to sell there. We're not quite there yet. We are getting there with tomatoes. We have some pretty good handfuls of cherries every day, and we're almost there with a few of our big beefsteak varieties, heirloom guys. So I'm going to start at the very beginning. My son's actually burying some plants that we got at the sale, and I'll introduce you to him in a minute. This is one of the plants too. So we're replacing some things that died with things at the sale, and we actually got plants for $1 because it's super late in the season, so it was really nice. Some of these big ones were a little bit more, but really, really good prices. And we were been trying to build this garden for as cheaply as we possibly can. Just having to move back and tell you more about my story. I'm a nurse that's disabled, an ER trauma nurse, and that's why I'm back in my hometown. Went for a couple years. I have a illness called breast implant illness. I'm sure I'll do a separate video to tell you all about it, but at some point. But for now, it's caused me multiple autoimmune diseases, including lupus, and I'm just have about 50 symptoms that are much better since I had my implants removed, but still very problematic. So if you know someone who has breast implants and is having symptoms that they can't make heads or tails of, very well could be breast implant illness, and they should definitely look into that. There is a cancer that's specifically associated with breast implant illness do you really want to be aware of. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get to garden. So I'm going to flip you guys around, and I'm going to start you at the very beginning of the garden. We're going to start just before the arches near the house here, and let me flip you around. Okay, so over here we have little crazy cannabis guys, and these are called Freak Show. They have like a really weird growth habit. We got them as a freebie from a seed company. We have never grown any cannabis before, so this is a new foray for us. Next to those we have blueberries that have decided to take off and do really well in Bishop, and then a set of blueberries that decided to die and not do so well. This right here is black popping corn, and then there is a little dahlia that came back because I used to have this as kind of a goth garden, and I'm actually going to move these black bags all over into a little area and make kind of a fun little goth garden with this really fun haunted house sign that we have. These are potatoes, and they're actually dying back a little bit. We had some flowers, so I think these are going to be ready to harvest pretty soon. Potatoes, you know, when they start to die back, that's typically a sign that they're ready to harvest. Flowering means that they're making potatoes underground. Those tubers are forming. I haven't ever had them flowers form. The tubers will form without flowers, but when they flower, you know that they're forming tubers. In here I have planted a number of things. Initially I planted white sage right in the middle twice, and it never came up. Then I have carrots, and we planted some strawberry what do you call those, runners, and most of those look like they're dying. So it was way too hot out here. A couple of them might survive, but I got some more from a friend. They were really wimpy little, barely there runners in the first place. This one is just herbs. So this is a basil variety. I think it's a Chinese basil. There's cilantro back here. Red, I think this is red ball basil. And then this one is a holy basil, I believe. And then there's just a Genovese. Then we planted a bunch more cilantro in here. So now we're over at the archways. And these archways we've planted with squash, pumpkins, and melons, and a couple cucumbers, primarily. These were mostly from seed, although these watermelons were from start. This one I pollinated myself. He's really growing. This is a cucamelon that I got from start also. They're looking a little sad. Everything's looking a little sad because I haven't evening watered. We've been twice a day watering because of the heat. And the squash tends to really pout. So some of these are going to look completely dead. Just know that once I water and by the morning, they're going to be very happy. This, I believe, is an Armenian yard-long cucumber, I believe. It's actually a melon. It's got so many blossoms, but it tastes like a cucumber, and they're supposed to be really heat tolerant. So I tried to primarily plant this side with seeds that I knew are really heat tolerant because they get the real brunt of the sun. Everywhere is getting a lot of full sun. Here's another Charleston Sweet, Clemson Sweet. Yeah. Clemson Sweet watermelon. And I did not pollinate that one, but he's growing fantastically. I think this is a Jacoby Little Pumpkin kind of pouting. And this guy is very much pouting, but he looks great the rest of the time. We have some sweet corn over here that I definitely don't think will be doing anything in time, but it seemed like a fun idea. We've never really had room to grow corn, so we thought we'd try. We got a couple artichoke starts. Really struggled in the beginning because of the heat. We did these little moats around them and just are really hammering them with water, and they're doing better. Whee! Over here, a couple more squash. These are the saddest ones. These get the very most sun. These look completely dead, but in the morning, I'm gonna film a short video just to show you how fine they look in the morning. They just really pout. The new growth looks good on these. And this one is totally going out the wrong way. I haven't been able to turn him around. This guy's also pretty pouty. He will turn around. He was going the wrong way too, but not too far. Now these guys over here are getting a lot more shade because we have this shade up. And so they look fantastic. They're getting all the love during the day. And I believe, I believe these are all squash varieties. I planted 4 under some of these, which was probably a little bit overzealous. But we'll see. I know that squash bugs and squash vine borers are both really prevalent here. I haven't seen any signs of them yet, but I'm keeping my eye out and I'm trying to prepare and be extra ready with squash. So we've planted second rounds of everything over here. These are little, we call them volcano moats. It's our patented, where we keep the area in the middle a little indented, and it looks like that's about to be a squash popping up. We got a couple little silver Yamamoto watermelons that have popped up. I don't see any other squash just yet. That was the first sign, and I'm almost positive that's about to be this little sugar baby watermelon's got a baby. And Halloween pumpkin. Most of these I have labeled. Oh, here's I think that's some kind of Czechoslovakian or something watermelon that has really pretty seeds, and I could not pronounce that name if you gave me $1 million or my life depended on it. Forgot to also mention that these rocks and glass and stuff were ones that we found when we stayed up at Bernasconi with my son's school. Put us up while we were getting our housing together, and I thought it would be a really fun idea. These are all like really beautiful rocks. I thought it would be a really fun idea. That one has an A in it, and I don't know why. To find a bunch of rocks from every place that we love and have each of these be outlined with a different place so we can have all those memories. There's some really obsidian in here and just really pretty old glass. Anyway, back to the veg. This tomato, there's one tomato here that still doesn't have a cage. So these are our determinate tomatoes here. These are all Celebrity in the front, and I bought them in a little tiny, they were tiny starts in a 6-pack. And it looks like these are Better Bush. Our landlord gave us those from his store that he wasn't selling. These are strawberry runners that I got from a friend that were looking really good until today. We've been covering them with this yoga mat to protect them from the sun because the sun is insane. This is our first little determinate tomato baby. There's one on there as well. These guys are looking a little sun-beat. They're hard to keep watered well. These are our onions from Sets. I've never planted onions from sets. They're doing pretty well. A little bit sunburnt, but here's some tomatillos that my friend Brianna gave us. I've never grown tomatillos. I'm excited to make some salsa verde. And then in those rows there, we have potatoes. You can just see, we just held them up, so there's a little tiny bit of green right there. And the far side is a weed, but the green in the middle is potatoes. These, I think, are gourds and melons. There's a watermelon. I don't know what, I didn't label any of these because I wanted to soak the seeds. Again, this side's looking a lot better. These are a couple of long beans here. Oh, I think there's actually a few long beans on. Oh my gosh, they've grown so much. They were tiny this morning. So these grow a foot and a half, probably. And they're supposed to trellis really well and be really good heat tolerant. A lot of our things are growing the wrong direction. What is that little baby? I can't tell you. There's that guy. This guy's growing up here. He's looking beautiful. And that guy here. Okay, this is the saddest little side. I think because there's a slope here. These guys aren't getting much water and they're getting a lot of sun. Mostly long beans and then other green beans in here. And then a couple, again, a gourd and a watermelon. This side, the same thing. That watermelon's doing a little better. That one's a moon and stars. Has those little yellow spots. The watermelon will have the same ones, and it looks, they'll usually have one large one and a bunch of small ones, so it's kind of cool, like a moon and stars. This is our second round of summer squash. A bunch of those are coming up, and again, I did not label these because I can tell what they are once they start growing, except for the 3 different zucchini type. So we have Black Beauty, Black Coral, and Green Bush, and those are all different types of zucchini. So I'd like to figure out which one I like the most and which grows the best here and which is the most prolific. So I labeled those, but you don't have to label everything if you don't care. These are sunflowers that I started from seed. Those are all going to be, I think it's evening colors and strawberry blonde, and those are really pretty red and yellow and white. Another artichoke there. In Monterey, that was one of the things that grew the very best, so we're a little spoiled. This is a little wildflower patch that we made. Primarily what seems to be growing is amaranth and zinnias. Got a couple little beans to grow up this trellis along here. There's another sunflower here. Most of these got eaten. There's a hollyhock. Big, huge red amaranth. Some of these have really pretty coloration where they're kind of variegated. I figured they're kind of tall, and where the sunflowers didn't work, we'd leave them. There's a bunch more replanted sunflowers that are just coming up. Some of our landlords' cannabis. Doing pretty good. And my son here, hi Cameron, is planting our tomatoes that we bought at the farmer's market. Some of these are hybrid ones that our landlord gave us, and we're going to trellis these in a kind of a Florida weave, like a modified Florida weave style. So we're going to do 3, 6, 8 tomatoes. Yeah, we're going to do one in the middle, and we thought that would be a little complicated to get to. I know how to do maths. So he's going to bury these nice and deeply, take a lot of the lower branches off, and because tomatoes will grow roots all along, all these little fuzzy looking things, that's all possible roots. So that'll make the plant stronger. Is this the one that was bendy, or is that the one that was bendy? Okay, one of them was looking really, really sad. You're gonna try and get him real deep then?
Yeah.
This guy might need to go a little deeper, but he'd be okay.
He's got a moat already, was my thinking.
Oh, true. A little moat around, a built-in moat. Okay, cool. Right here, we just planted a bunch of sweet potatoes that I grew from a sweet potato. It's a white one. I like white and purple better than traditional orange, really sweet ones. They look like they're doing actually amazingly. We've had a little shade over them for just being planted in the sun beatings that they're taking. They're doing pretty good. And we have some more growing in the house to fill out the rest of this little it's gonna be a mound, I guess, and they can kind of spread out a little bit. I did initially put bush beans there, but they did not come up. So there's that. And then I'll show you the first area that we planted, which is the most developed. And we have a shade going on there, so I duck to get under. We got squashes. I'm gonna start over here and we'll come back to the squashes. So here's our cannabis. This was a little extra guy that was gonna die and Cameron saved him. He's a charity case lover. Here's a Girl Scout cookie. And this one is feminized, and so we topped him, and so he's branching out to get more bushy. This guy is an autoflower, and he's gonna be a little more stocky, and he's already flowering. But again, I know nothing about how to harvest or anything, so hopefully we'll read up on that before it's actually time. Over here I have a little bit of lettuce and beets. They're not doing great. I still water them occasionally. And for some reason, look at them. There's all kinds of crickets in here. And when I water, they go running out of here towards the back. It's really funny. Okay, so here I have a little okra that I planted from seed. Oh, geez, it's weedy back here. I don't get back here all that often. Okay. Then we have, this is a lemon cherry. And there's a few tomatoes on. This is a super multiflora tomato. Look at all the bunches were even more obscene before. This one is an apricot mango. I'll show you it from the other side actually, because it has some tomatoes on that are really pretty. Oh, and they're starting to get a little bit of color, I think. They're really like interesting striation. Nice, big, beautiful guys. And then we have a sun gold with lots of ripe tomatoes that I'll pick right now. I can take and enjoy. I already have a handful inside, so I need to make like a big salad or something. These are a little bit on the small side. I fertilized this plant after I saw how small some of them were towards the end of the trusses. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh crap, I just realized I don't have a pocket to put these in. That's all right. Next to those, and these guys are really tall and hard to wrangle. Next to him we have a Cherokee purple, and there's some little tomatoes there. And next to that we have a midnight snack, and the midnight snack are these really pretty dark tomatoes they turn red when they're ripe. Anywhere that hits the sun gets that anthocyanin. It's really pretty. They're midnight snack, if I didn't say that. And here we're gonna replant some of the tomatoes that died. These, we took suckers off of these guys when they were babies. Now we're not pruning them, but the lower suckers. And we prune these down to 1 liter, sometimes 2. This guy definitely has 2. That guy definitely has 2. But you want to keep the ground level so there's not a bunch of splash up. I'm going to prune up a little higher. You don't want to prune up above the fruit because the leaves protect the fruit from getting sunburnt. But you want to get those leaves off the ground so they're not getting the chance of disease, which is way less likely here than it was in Monterey where everything was diseased, but still a chance. And this little bed is where we had those suckers, and Cam's replanting. We got these again for $1. These big ones were $4. Insane. There's already tomatoes on. I probably should take those off, but I don't want to. I want to see them grow. I'm hoping it'll survive the shock. This guy's a green zebra, and one of these is a sweetheart cherry from Baker Creek. They're really pretty. They make little red heart-shaped cherry tomatoes. They're super cute. And again, I don't know what the suckers are because we just saved them, but we planted them out too late. We kept them inside too long and we didn't harden them off enough, so they're a little sad. A couple of them died, but oh, thanks, baby. Planted. That's a little technique we have, is to plant the cup, put the cup by it to keep a marker until we can make one. Start up here. Oh yeah, it's smart too. This is a cucumber here. I think it's a dragon's egg, I want to say. I thought it had a couple little cucumbers on, but now I don't know. Anyway, I think he's a little bit sad about the heat, but he's doing okay. There's a cucumber here also, but a squirrel just dug up, and now he's been running around our garden, not wreaking havoc yet, but we're keeping our fingers crossed. our last and little healthiest artichoke. And then our corn is looking very sad, especially the corn that's not shaded. Holy crap. Today it took a beating. It was not looking like this earlier. And these beans are also some of the wimpiest guys. They're not doing fantastic, except for these couple in the back. And these couple in the back have beans on. Let's see. There's some little beans. Pretty cute. We're gonna peek at all these squash and see if we can see what kind they are and what's going on. We have a big zucchini here. A little one that's fertilized there. Let's see. This guy, I don't see any fruits on him yet. I'm pretty sure this one's a little patty pan. Oh no, he's a weird. I don't know what he is. He must be a delicata. Because I've never grown a bush delicata. I think that's what he is. Because he doesn't look like any of my other summer squash would be. This is the patty pan. Oopsie. Getting a little fuzzy and dark over here, phone. There's a little patty pan. I don't think this guy has any on. Oh yeah, look. Something. I don't know what. And this one is a gray zucchini. I've harvested one off of him already. It was really good. And then this guy is our Zephyr. And he has like 6 or 7 on. Most of them are fertilized and growing. A couple are babies. So he's been really productive. These are chocolate bell pepper, California Wonder, unknown squash. We have an Anaheim, a Serrano, and a Shishito. And then this is a little patty pan. We just harvested one from him. And then a bunch of jalapenos back there. And I'll give you a better look at them next time because it's getting dark out here. Maybe we'll be out here for sundown and I can give you guys a quick little sundown view. But this is our garden. It's looking a little ruggeder with the mulberry stained sheets hanging out and the sunshades everywhere, but the garden is very happy for any shade it can get, so we're happy to give it to it. Okay, you want to talk about it, Bubba?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for new gardeners, it might be a bit intimidating trying to unpot and replant a start as big as this. So, we're going to run you through the basic steps. First thing you want to do is really break it away from the edges, because if it's still just compacted in there, it's never going to come out.
And we also would probably take the flowers and the fruit off of any tomato, but we're gonna just try and sneak it by because we want the tomato to get rooted into the ground and focus on wellness, but we also want to see what happens with those big tomatoes there.
So next up, we're gonna be lifting it
Carefully. Watch your top.
You want to put your hand against the base with the plant kind of supported between your fingers. And you're going to slowly turn it upside down. And you'll just slide out of there.
Watch it slowly slide out. Holler if you need a hand. Watch that tip on the ground. Perfect. You need me to take that top off or you got it?
I got it.
I would not be able to do this by myself because I don't have long enough arms nor am I strong enough.
You want to break up the roots, but this guy,
he's good.
He's good.
Yeah, he didn't have a root ball at the bottom. He's in this huge pot. And we got these from Whispering Willow Nursery in Big Pine. The girl's super nice and knowledgeable. I'm excited to go look at all her plants and continue to. And we also got to meet Milo, who is the tribal garden runner. And I'm going to take you guys at some point to go look at the tribal gardens and some of my friends' gardens here and on the reservation. So this nice that it has a little stick in it already to keep them supported for the meantime. That looks gorgeous, son. Cam has a real natural ability for planting. I'm always like, I'll just tell him to do something. If I don't know exactly how to do it, he'll usually figure out a way that works. And this is a whole new, like I said, in Monterey, we were often worried about overwatering. Well, we had containers, so we were still worried about things getting enough water, but not to this level, not where you had to hydrate the soil that was really, really just free of any organic matter, and so it's working out pretty well so far. It's better than we thought it was going to be, and it's going to take us years to build up the soil. We did not amend this bed at all. Cameron just triple dug it, I think, and we just maybe quadruple, or
I think we might have like put half a bag just to.
Oh, maybe, and and just kind of worked it in. This one we put we kind of did a no dig situation. We put some cardboard down and then put soil on. And then these plants we just planted. They were all pretty big when we planted them, so we amended underneath them and planted them into the ground, kind of like this guy. They weren't quite as big as him. And then in this other areas out here, we did not amend any of these areas. We planted seeds, and they've been doing fantastically. We just have to really hydrate the ground and like fight it to keep water on. But that's why some of these things next year, hopefully we'll have more money. We'll lay a nice big layer of compost down. We'll do that for a few more years and build up the organic matter in the soil, and it should get healthier and healthier. One other thing you could do to do that is when you're taking out these plants at the end of the year when they're spent, as long as they're not diseased, you want to just cut them off at their base of the soil and let those roots rot in the ground to build up organic matter. If you pull out everything, you're not giving the ground things to have living organisms work with and decompose and just give back to that soil. I also do kind of a chop and drop method where, especially with these poor little beans that were so sad, I'm just knocking off their dead leaves and kind of giving them a little bit of a mulch with them. We would ideally have these all mulched also. That was another thing I wanted to mention. But we have called for a chip drop, and in Monterey, when we did that, we got our chips in 2 or 3 days, I think, which I guess is kind of miraculous. It doesn't usually happen that fast.
More than we could ever use.
Yeah, more than we could ever use. And here we called at least a month and a half ago and haven't heard a word. So I realize it's a smaller community and it's rural, and so it might take a lot longer. So we might have to figure out some other economic way to mulch, because mulch is very important, especially in the desert. But I'm too afraid to use some of the things like hay and straw because there's so much spraying happening, and I don't want an herbicide in my garden. I never want to have to deal with trying to re-amend the soil that's already brand new and trying to build up life. So we'll just keep watering and try and keep things shaded and as healthy as possible till we can get some more chips, hopefully. A quick update. It's clearly another day. I have different clothes on. Same hat, though. I'm feeling this hat. I'll probably be wearing it all the time. I wanted to give you a little update. I had told you that I was going to show you how these things perked up and looked really good the next day. This is the one that was pouting the most, that the leaves just will wilt to nothing. But it pops back up and looks pretty good. Hoping that they can withstand. We're coming to the end of the really 107, 108 days that we had. Hopefully, if we can keep it in the 90s, these guys might have a better chance. And the other thing I wanted to show you real quick is these. Since I showed them to you like 2 days ago, how much they've grown. And I think these are the Chinese long beans, or the noodle beans. And I think I said they get like a foot and a half, but I really think they actually get 2.5 feet. Anyway, I'm gonna try and do weekly garden tours, I think, from this point forward, because so much is happening all the time. And other content just kind of as we plant things up, or I'm gonna start planning the fall garden. I don't know how much of a fall garden I'll get here, but it would be nice to have something going. I really love brassicas, and if I go back on the AIP diet with my autoimmune disease at any point, I can't have all these lovely tomatoes, peppers, or eggplants, or potatoes. It's like a lot of what I'm growing. So it would be really nice to get some winter veg going too. And I'll keep you updated. I'm gonna play something in the orange and just stand out here in the garden looking at the sunset.